Yo. Hey, good morning, and how are you guys doing today? I hope amazing. So we're back writing live, and I'm still discombobulated and just waking up. It's 5 a.m. here, and we are at chapter 11, and my phone is obviously beeping the crap out of at me a lot. I'll get chat up real quick. We'll get going. I expect it to be a pretty good day. I noticed that I don't like how we jump. Like the way it dry starts, if you just go right to chapter 11, bugs me for some reason. And I'm going to look over it and we'll try to fix through it. Chapter 11 is pretty big, it's not massive. I don't expect there to be a ton of mistakes. Let me get this out of here real quick. But let's try to get whatever is a mistake out of here, right? Hold on one second. I'll have chat up. I hope you guys are having a great morning yourself. I'll be better awake in like just seconds here. Um, I did drink a couple sips of coffee. That'll kick in, etc. Um, Still working to get ourselves up. Boom. And I've got it. Sorry that took so long. One day I'll be all fancy. I'll have two screens and such. Until then, we'll deal with it. Okay, so here's what bugs me. We just dealt with all this crap back here, right? Where Daniel and Ethan mess everybody up. I haven't wrote the one scene yet. I gotta write that back in there. Um, Basically, here we jump right into talking. I think this literally either this paragraph needs to go back there, which then makes that last chapter so massive. So I'm gonna pull this back into that last chapter, making the last chapter just a frickin' beast of a chapter. I absolutely think almost last chapter needs broken up, but because remember, it's gonna actually have more words in this by the entire sex scene. I am gonna pull this back to the last chapter. Sorry, guys. It doesn't sit right down here. You can't start in on the situation that we should have got out of before the last chapter ended. So that drops this to a 1,300 page chapter. Oh. Okay. So we'll read this. So the hey, good morning, Midnight Bacon. I hope you're doing amazing. By the way, you're putting out some great Entropia videos. I did notice that you're rocking it on that. You have some good ideas on videos. That's a 100%. Okay, ready? I am going to need Kiara and Mia to help. Okay, help get what we can. Oh, so this is where he's gonna have Kiara and Mia torture this guy. So I don't like how I worded, "Hey, I'm gonna need these two girls to torture this dude to get info out of him." I am going to need. That's not how people speak. Watch this. We're gonna change it into how people would speak. Stay back. Okay, Kiara Mia, I'm gonna need wait, comma, because he'd say their names right. I'm gonna need you to stay back a minute. Okay, and we're just not gonna say this crap, and we're just gonna say okay. Ooh, welling. The word welling, isn't it like this? Okay, we're not gonna have. I don't believe we would use his name. I believe I'm overusing names sometimes, and I'm gonna just be honest. Because in the real world, if you're really conscious and you're good about it, you probably use names all the time directly. And with the people that are very close to you, use names. But most of the time, I don't believe that I reference people by their name and stuff like that. And so I feel that we can get away with cutting out his name a little bit here. So we're not Daniel, 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 right? Okay, so ready? Kiara and Mia, I need you to stay back a minute. We're going to get every bit of information we can from this sack of shit before we send him off to the next world, next life. Welling. I think we have the right welling. I don't know what that was. Let me go back. We're going to get every bit of information we can from this sack of shit. Comma. That's a comma right here, guys. Because he would call him some mean things. Let's just be honest before we send him off to the next life. I'm going to just switch it to afterlife. I don't want people thinking that I'm saying that in this world it's a fact that everybody reincarnates because in line number blah 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 on page number blah 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 I said that. You know what I mean? I'm like I have no idea how that works. I didn't think about that yet. No idea. Okay, Sam and Rory, go check on your friends. Okay. Sam and Rory, go check on your friends and keep them away. None of you are going to want to see this. Okay, so um that's I'm gonna assume he's looking at Trag's body at that point. Oh. Oh no. Let's just change this because I'm Sam and Rory, blah blah blah. I don't need to. We can just the rest of you. Don't worry, I got this fixed. Then we'll. This should have was in the other chapter, but it really does belong up here, right? This totally just changed the crap out of this, by the way. But Kiara and Mia, I need you to stay back a minute. We're going to get every bit of information we can from this sack of shit before we send him off to the afterlife. Off to the afterlife or send him to the afterlife. Just I'm gonna leave off in there, even though I'm not 1,000,000% convinced of it. The rest of you and your friends, oh, I get where I was going. Walk away. The rest of you and your friends walk away. None of you are going to want to see this, said Akio. Captain Coach stood over the bodies of her dead crew members, her eyes fixed with hate upon Daniel. I could feel the seriousness in the room. As it became clear, they planned on torturing information out of him. As I walked out of the bridge, I glanced back, meeting Daniel's eyes. Oh, you know what? Let's add a detail to that. Okay, hold on. Hold on, this is going to get a little dark. Okay, it's gonna get a lot dark right there. I don't know why I decided to add a dark thing right there, but whatever. As I walked out of the bridge, I glanced back, meeting Daniel's eyes. Let's fill that. They were filled with dread and agony. It was as if his gaze asked the question, how can you let them do this to me? But they had killed Trag. So I took a strange pleasure in knowing what. Oh. what was to come. I don't know why that. Boom. Got it fixed. I could see the. Wait. Oh, well, crap, man. I had already went that dark. I didn't even read it ahead. Okay. Okay, never mind. I guess I was already gonna use fear and agony, not dread and agony. I'm gonna switch it to dread. We're gonna go dread. What else did I think is better? Holy crap! Okay. I glanced back, meeting Daniel's eyes. I could see the fear and agony. We are gonna go dread, right? I like that better. Oh, we need that R in there. Holy crap. I could see the dread and agony in his face and knew he was silently begging me to save him. He had killed my friend Trag and betrayed us, though. We're gonna make him go dark anyway. He had killed my friend Trag and betrayed us, so the only emotion that it elicited was my hate. As I walked off, I felt vindicated that Daniel was lying there in agony, with bone thorns protruding through his skin. With bone thorns? Is that what we're calling them? Thorns of bone? Oh yeah, let's leave it as bone thorns. Thorns of bone sounds weird. With bone thorns protruding from his skin, and I considered, well, which? Oh, and I considered him well deserving of what ever happened next. Well deserving of what he. As I walked off, I felt vindicated that Daniel was lying there in agony, with bone thorns protruding from his skin. Something's still bugging me here. I'm gonna have to drink a drink of coffee. Okay. I'm going to separate this out. I feel that we already got the point across that we feel that he deserved it. As we cleared the room for them to get to work, I considered him well deserving of. I considered him well deserving of what he. I considered him well deserving of what he brought upon himself is a single word, right? Yeah. I think that that's true. Okay, as we cleared the room for them to get to work, I considered him well deserving of what he brought upon himself. Yeah, we're good with that. Okay, let's get into actually this part now. Yeah, well, we have to have him not be the greatest person. He's not a I don't want to write one of those heroes that's so shiny, sparkly, clean that they're literally a one-dimensional. Like, yeah, I don't like those heroes that much. They're cool, honestly. I like them in cartoons and stuff. This guy's gonna have. It's gonna go dark. That's what we're doing. Okay, Rory and I made our way back to the crew quarters where Brandon, Toby, Orion, and Zach were standing. Trag's body had been moved already, but the destruction from the blast was still apparent. Blood still coated much of the corridor. Now, with the smoke and chaos cleared, I could see the blast had destroyed the doorway to my quarters. Zach, Zach's look was that of anger. How did this happen, Sam? You were supposed to be watching them and watching our backs. Now Blake is lying in the medical bay and Trag is dead. Orion pushed his. Where is this? Oh, Orion pushed his way between us. Oh, do we want to make the tension higher by actually saying the tension's higher right in here? Okay, hold on. Okay, so Zach's. And this is why I really think that a story probably is mostly comes together in actual revisions, and all you have to have is the idea of the story puked out in actual the writing. Let's go back over this and read through it. Now, with the smoke and chaos cleared, I could see the blast had destroyed the doorway to my quarters. Zach looked, Zach's look was that of anger. Okay. Zach's look was that of anger. Am I overcomplicating how I'm saying that? Okay. face. Oh. Okay, I think we have this. Now, with the smoke and chaos cleared, I could see the blast had destroyed the doorway to my quarters. Then I noticed the anger on Zach's face as he began yelling at me. How did this happen, Sam? You were supposed to be watching them and watching our backs. Now Blake is lying in the medical bay and Trag is dead. Zach's face flushed red as he stepped closer toward me, balling his fists. Orion pushed his way between us as if to control the situation, working to calm down Zach. Orion said, working to calm down Zach. I don't know if I like working to calm down Zach. I'm going to have to drink a piece of coffee on that. I'm going to just go trying. I don't like working. I don't know why I said working instead of just trying to start. Trying to calm down Zach, Orion said. Orion trying to calm down Zach said. Orion said. Okay, trying to calm down Zach, Orion said. Orion trying to calm down Zach said. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Take Zach out of there. Calm down. Let's see if this works better. It's much more clear. Okay, so watch this. If he's not just trying to calm down Zach, Zach's face flushed red as he stepped closer toward me, balling his fists. Sorry, I'm about to hiccup, I think. Orion pushed his way between us as if to control the situation. Trying to wait. Okay. Okay, we'll change that then. Boom. Zach's rage. Boom. We make it even more confrontational. Oren pushed his way between us as if to control Zach's rage. As he tried to calm down the situation, Oren said, "Look, we don't know exactly how this happened, but we all knew the risks. Sam, you really do need to explain what went wrong with watching them, though. I thought you were going to take care of that." Okay. As he tried to calm down the situation, Orion said, "Look, okay, let me get rid of one of the oh, and with ease, it's not good. Look, none of us know what happened, but we all knew the risks before coming. Sam, you really need. Sam, you really do need to explain what went wrong with watching them, though." Sam, you owe us an explanation of. Oh, okay. Sam, you owe us an explanation of how this happened with you watching them. I thought you were going to take care of that. I thought you had us. Okay, so they're going to throw all the blame on Sam. Basically, that's how we're doing it. I know, sounds like a jerk move. It is kind of a jerk move that they would do that, right? Moving forward. That was. I knew deeply that it was my fault, at least in part. I gathered myself and explained, "I'm sorry. I don't know exactly what happened, but I'll find out. I made a mistake. I got distracted with Kiara. We went to the med bay to get something, and we ended up hooking up. I had started watching Daniel and Ethan beforehand, and did not seem like they were doing anything. In the end, though, I should have never gotten distracted. I'm sorry." I'm going to get rid of the "I am sorry," and we're going to just turn it into the contraction, right? Everybody agree "I'm sorry" is better than "I am sorry" for some reason? I don't know why it is. Toby stepped forward, trying to push past Oren, saying, "So this is your fault? You and Kiara were busy doing each other instead of what each other? Yeah, each other's a single word. Each other. No, that's right. Instead of watching our backs, you better hope Blake makes it, because I'll never forgive you for this if he doesn't." Toby, I agree. That's pretty angry, right? Toby took a couple of breaths to calm himself down before saying, "We're going to go check on my brother. You need to figure out what happened," as he walked away. Okay, so we know that everybody now hates Sam, right? Boom. No, the guy didn't do anything wrong either. I mean, besides not do his job, but I mean, what are they going to expect? They're all a mess. Trag had been one of my best friends, along with being the person who brought us this opportunity. Now he was dead. Trag had always been a good guy to me, and Blake was seriously injured. So I wanted to know exactly uh, what exactly had happened. I patched in with the data with a direct link and started pulling all the ship surveillance system files. Surveillance files. I think we can just go with surveillance files, right? I don't think I need the word system in there just to have it. Files. From the time I had last watched Daniel and Ethan to the time of the explosion. Okay. Around an hour after I had watched them, they started. Had around an hour after I had watched them, previously watched them. I wasn't sure I was going to spell previously right. Just I don't know why previously seems like it's going to be a better choice there. Just for the record, I don't like how the chat disappears on me sometimes. It bugs me. Okay, around an hour after I had previously watched them, they started working on putting three devices together in Ethan's quarters. Daniel then armed himself with a heavy laser pistol from a stash of weapons they had brought on board. Ethan took three devices placed in a satchel, a couple of fragmentation grenades, and a laser carbine. After going over the plan for the last time, they split up. Ethan was to place a bomb at the arms room. Yeah? At the warp compression fill generator and my quarters. If I was in my quarters, he was to kill me, then plant the device inside my room to explode and cause more of a distraction. If I was not there, if I was not there, comma, if I was in my quarters, boom, there. If I was not there, he was to leave the device set to explode when I arrived back and found it, staying in the area to make. Okay, so then we'll fix this. Found it. Oh, wait. After planting the device, he was to Okay, after planting the device, he was to stay in the area to make sure the job was finished no matter what. Okay, so I feel that's true. Daniel was to make his way to the ship's bridge and wait to hear the explosions before making his move during the chaos. Oh, what am I doing here? Taking. After taking the bridge, hold on 1 second. After taking the bridge, he was to message the elves. Okay, boom. Okay, let's read this. Daniel was to make his way to the ship's bridge and wait to hear the explosion before making his move during the chaos. After taking the bridge, he was to message the elves and relay vital information along with an update on how the plan was going. Most of the plan played out as they had expected until Ethan could not get access to engineering to place the device on the warp compression generator. From there, he became panicked, placed the device outside the blast doors protecting engineering. Ethan then rushed to my quarters, sloppily planting the device in front of my door, right as Trag rounded the corner to witness it. Trag was coming to my quarters with some bliss, and seemed to have planned, yeah, and seemed to have planned to hang out. Ethan tried to walk away, but as Trag reached for the satchel while calling him, he detonated the device. The way things played out seemed to have caught Ethan off guard. Okay, the way things played out seemed to have caught Ethan off guard as he was still scrambling to figure out what had happened as Blake and Toby came out of their quarters. Blake, seeing Ethan standing there with his laser carbine aimed upon them, moved to shield his brother right as we arrived. Okay. I don't know if I like that. Blake, seeing Ethan standing there with his laser carbine aimed. I don't think he would have had it aimed yet. Because he's thrown off. Okay. Okay. Blake, seeing Ethan standing there with his laser carbine and the destruction. Okay, I'm going to change this. Blake standing. Okay. Ooh. Blake quickly looked over the situation. Realizing Let me think of how I'm going to say this. Blake quickly looked over the situation, realizing Ethan's startled look as he raised Okay, Blake quickly looked over the situation, realizing Ethan's startled look as he raised his laser carbine. Is that not right? Hold on one second. This is why we love Google, guys. Carbine rifle. Oh, okay. I'm missing the E. Why doesn't it just suggest the E? I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, good. We got that. Carbine. Leveling it to fire on them. Sorry, guys. We're done right here. Dun, dun, dun. Watch this. With no time to get out of the way, Blake moved to shield his brother. Right. Okay. With no time to get out of the way, Blake moved to shield his brother, taking a full burst right as we arrived. From there, I knew what had occurred. Okay, boom. I disconnected from the system and started to make my way to the med bay to check on Blake. As I entered, everyone turned, looking at me with judgment still remaining in their eyes. Blake was in the regen tank, alive, but still unconscious. Toby was sitting on the floor on a blanket in front of Blake's regen tank. Brandon, Orrin, Washington, and Zach seemed to have been in the middle of a serious conversation. I disregarded their look so I could tell them what I had found and find out. Found and find in a thing. And get an update on. Okay. I disregarded their looks. So I could tell them what I had found and get an update on how Blake was doing. Okay, found, comma, phone. I asked, is he okay? Washington stepped forward, saying, thankfully we got him here fast, and Sarah was able to use her healing abilities to help him, or he would be dead. We're really lucky to have. Wait, I don't like this. We're really lucky to have brought someone who can use healing. I don't like that at all. We're really lucky to have someone brought to have some have brought someone to have brought someone. Yeah, this is horrible. This is a horrible way to say I'm glad we brought a healer. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to say, hey, I'm really glad we brought a healer so that I didn't die. But we said all that shit. Holy crap. Let me take coffee in. It's okay. We're ready. We're going to fix this. We're really lucky. Okay, we're really lucky to have brought someone who can use healing. We're really lucky to have had a let's just call it a healer. We're really lucky to have had a healer, or he would have likely died before we got him to nanites. Not held on long enough for medical nanites to have stabilized him. Okay, so we're making that he would have likely died, right? He would have likely died. Sorry, guys. He would have likely died before the medical nanites would have had a chance. Okay, excuse me, guys. We're really lucky to have had a healer, or he would have likely died before the medical nanites would have had a chance to stabilize him. That's so much freaking better. Holy shit. I'm just saying that was rough. That was super rough, right? Okay. Orion let us know he watched some of the ship's officers searching down. Okay. Let us know. Instead of let us know, he informed us. Orion informed. Orion informed us he watched some of the ship's officers searching Daniel and Ethan's quarters and gathering up weapons they had. Along weapons they had. Okay. I think we can get rid of all that. Boom. Orion informed us He had watched some of the ship's officers searching Daniel and Ethan's quarters and gathering up weapons they had. They also made a full search of the room and ship for any more of those devices. We'll just call it explosive devices because that's what they are, right? Washington stood up, saying, "We should find out what we can from them. If anybody wants to go with me, from them." I'm not going to say from them. Okay, now it's going to change. Washington stood up, saying, "We should find out what more we can. If anybody wants to go with me." Okay, I'm going to leave that. Orin nodded in agreement. Orin, it's not Orion. Let's fix that. Orin nodded in agreement as he walked to the door, saying, "Yeah, I need something to focus on." As they left, I hoped they would find something of value. I stayed watching over Blake, wishing I would have done things differently for a while. We all sat quietly, then Toby asked, "Why did they do this? Why would Daniel and Ethan be working with the elves?" Brandon stood up, as if to gather his thoughts. He was knowledgeable when it came to almost anything. Brandon explained he believed that they were Drew Mar, a faction of humans controlled and loyal to the Alamari Elven Empire. Drew Mar are complete religious fanatics who forsake all for cybernetics and genetic modifications, serving one of the three elven empires from before the Great War. When the horrors arrived, they believed that it was judgment upon the whole of this plane for the abominations of the humans and others modifying themselves with genetic manipulation and cybernetic technology. Alamari believe the way was wait. Alamari believe the way was lost by the other elves. Alamari believe. We're going to change this. Believe the other elves who had corrupted, lost their way, oh, forsaking, it's not going to be sacking. Forsaking. Okay, the Alamari believe the other elves have lost their way, forsaking their natural ways. Okay. Alamari believe the other elves have lost their way, forsaking their traditions and natural ways. Oh. Forsaking their traditions and becoming much like the humans. Okay, and let's change that. Forsaking their traditions and becoming too much like the humans. Okay, the Alamari believe the other elves have lost their way, forsaking their traditions and becoming too much like the humans, who they consider corrupt. That's what we have right there. Dun, dun, dun. They sought out a powerful horror, pledging loyalty and providing sacrifices to them during the dark times. During dark times after the horrors arrived. Obviously, it's going to be after the horrors arrived, right? Okay. Dun, dun. That's going to be like that. Over the years, they became twisted and driven to profane madness, but often rewarded with strange powers. Oh, not profane, driven to profane madness, strange powers. As time went on, they served the horror. As time went on, they served the horror they chose as a god. Wait, as time went on, I don't like this. Hold on. Hold on. We gotta fix this. As time went on, they served the horror. As time went on, they served the horror. Now, as time went on, okay. Hold on 1 second. I think I have it. As time went on, they served the horrors as their chosen gods, growing powerful in the use of dark magic. Okay, that fixes it, right? They sought out a powerful horror, pledging loyalty and providing sacrifices to them. To it. It's singular. During the dark times. Over the years, they became twisted and driven to profane madness, but often rewarded with strange powers. As time went on, they served the horrors as their chosen gods, growing powerful in the use of dark magic. I knew a little about the pre-war history. Do we want to pre-war that like this? Or no? Let me read over this. I knew a little bit about pre war history and the elves, but also thought Daniel and Ethan had been Drewin Mar. Man, I really decided to pick really complicated ways to throw names on things, right? I knew a little bit about pre war history and the elves, but also thought and not but and also thought Daniel and Ethan had been Drew and Mar. I was also sure everything likely had something to do with Amelia, the scientist we were heading to retrieve, but I was not sure of what. I was not sure how much to say and wanted to delve further into the data inside my AI, wanting something to bring period instead. One, two. Wanting something to bring more clarity to the situation. I wanted something to bring. Oh, wanted. Wanted. I wanted something to bring more clarity to the situation, comma, so I excused myself politely. I think we're getting there, guys. We're getting there so close. I really wish there was some way I could fix everything, but at this point, I really wish there was some way I could fix everything, but at this point, the best I could do, could do, the best I can do is work to prevent anything further from happening. I really wish there was some way I could fix everything. Oh, wait, hold on. I really wished there was some way I could fix everything, but we were past that. Boom. But we were past that now. At this point, the best I could do is work to prevent anything further from happening. While I walked back to my new quarters, I came around the corner and almost walked into Kiara, who was completely distracted. She immediately looked up to see it was me, then averted her eyes, composing herself, and simply walked away without a word. I wanted to speak to her badly, and knew she likely knew that, but she did not even glance back. Okay, so let's read that again. She immediately looked up to see it was me, then averted her eyes, composed herself, and simply walked away without a word. I like that. That has the right spacing. I wanted to speak to her badly, and knew she likely knew that. And knew she likely, not, I knew she's psychic, she knew it. And knew she knew. badly and knew she was aware of that, but she did not even glance back. I did not have the time for the shifting emotions of a woman, not even a hot one. So I decided to get back to my quarters and see what I could find out in the AI's data. So I think we just successfully knocked this out. I mean, like, holy crap. Obviously, I'm going to print this up. Other people are going to read through this before we actually publish it. But legitimately, yeah, we're done with another chapter. So tomorrow morning, chapter 12. Guys, it's going to be a very, very short time. This is going to be fully done. Then, boom, published. Done. Well, thank you guys for hanging out. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that stuff. Stay epic. Peace. Very best wishes.